Well, 2021 is a pretty big year for Nintendo. They're having a lot of what we in the business like to call anniversaries. Okay, it's not really a business term. That's more like just a word that you'd find in, a dictionary. But we're using it anyway. Obviously, last year was Mario's anniversary. We've talked a ton about Zelda's anniversary and Metroid's anniversary. But on a fancy day in July of 1981, Nintendo came out with this thing called Donkey Kong. You probably know what it is because you saw the title and the thumbnail of the video with Donkey Kong. He's turning 40 years old. He is officially going to be over the hill. So as we've asked for Zelda and Metroid and Pokemon, although we kind of know for Pokemon now, what is Nintendo going to do for Donkey Kong's 40th anniversary? Let's talk about it. Well, spoiler alert for the video. The actual answer is probably not much. I wouldn't be surprised if they did something, because they did something for Fire Emblem's anniversary and for the Game & Watch's 40th anniversary last year, and those to Nintendo aren't the biggest franchises. And Donkey Kong is weird because he means a lot to Nintendo, but not recently. There's plenty of other franchises that have come after Donkey Kong, well, all of them actually, that are way bigger now by comparison. Part of the question is what Nintendo sees as the future for Donkey Kong, which frankly, I don't know. I think they're gonna continue to have him be something, but is he a side character to Mario, or does he continue to be, his own thing? So for today's video, we're just gonna assume that they still care about this big great ape and that they want to do something fun with him for this year and, years in the future. So I've brought my happy slappy little notebook here filled with ideas of what Nintendo could do for Donkey Kong's 40th anniversary here in 2021. But unlike our videos for Mario or Pokemon or Zelda's anniversary, Nintendo's probably only going to do one or two of these things rather than a whole bunch of them. Also, I'm going to be presenting them in order of most likely to least likely because, I don't know, seems like more fun. The most realistic thing that Nintendo is almost definitely going to do for Donkey Kong's 40th anniversary is they're going to put him in Mario Golf. You want to know how I know that? Because they've put him in Mario Golf. I put this on my list before checking whether or not he was confirmed for Mario Golf Super Rush coming out in June this year, and sure enough, he is. I mean, he's a Mario side character as far as Nintendo seems to be seeing him these days, and it's not really an anniversary celebration in and of itself, but they could acknowledge that it's for the anniversary while he's in there, and I looked it up, and he is confirmed to be in there. He's in the trailer, so he's not super prominent. You'll hear some footage. There he is. There's Donkey Kong, but still, I mean, he's in there. And he's been in a bunch of Mario Golf games before. He was in N64 Mario Golf, in Toadstool Tour, in the GBA one, in World Tour, in the 3DS game that I just forgot the name of that has all the different sports games all together, and now in Super Rush. So it's really not that crazy or notable at all that he's going to be in Mario Golf this time around, but maybe Nintendo can do something about him, like put an alternate skin that looks more like, the original DK. And speaking of the original DK, I wouldn't be surprised if there was some kind of experience like, not Mario 35 exactly, but like an online experience that has to do with the original Donkey Kong formula. Something that's specific to Nintendo Switch Online subscribers. Some of that might depend a little bit on if they do anything like that for Zelda or Metroid or any of those other things. Some of my ideas for that might be just a race to the finish type situation, very much like Mario 35, but with Donkey Kong. And maybe if you get to the top, you get to be Donkey Kong for everybody else. Or it's a 1v1 or a 1v40 situation where you get to be Donkey Kong at the top and everybody else or one other person, I don't know, however you want to do it, is Mario or Jumpman as he was known back in the day, that he has to make his way up and do silly shenanigans to beat you. I don't know how they would exactly, but I do think Nintendo would want to celebrate the original Donkey Kong as well as what he's become these days, because he was the antagonist at first and now he's a good guy doing fun things. But even if they don't do it in that way, I do think it's pretty much guaranteed that they would do like a Tetris 99 skin, because they've done that for so many other things, of the original Donkey Kong. And then also a whole bunch of merch. Like, we got a ton of Mario merch, so it's pretty much a shoe-in that we'll get some kind of Donkey Kong merch. Maybe Donkey Kong shoes. You can jump like an ape. Writes itself. before we move on, as I was researching this video, I looked up what other Donkey Kong anniversary celebrations Nintendo has had before, just to be able to get a baseline for what we might be able to expect. And unless I'm missing something, I couldn't find anything. So this is something that Nintendo seems to be leaning into more now than ever, but still surprising that they've never done anything before, again, unless I'm mistaken. So if I'm wrong about that, let me know in the comments down below if you remember something that I don't. But in any case, this would be a great time to start. Moving on to the less realistic but more exciting announcements that they can do for Donkey Kong's 40th anniversary. Honestly, a third retro Donkey Kong Country game in the line of Returns and Tropical Freeze. We don't know what Retro's been working on besides Metroid Prime 4, and that's only been like 3 years, and they haven't had anything since Tropical Freeze and the port of Tropical Freeze to Switch come out since then. So like, what have they been working on? With it being 3 years since that port and Metroid Prime 4 isn't out for a while, and theoretically if they're doing Prime Trilogy HD, rumors are that's been done for a while, so they could have had enough time after that and before Prime 4 is done to have some people working on a Donkey Kong Country game that finishes out the Tropical Trees Returns retro trilogy. I think that would be exciting. It's one of the best 2D platformers, even though we have a lot of 2D platformers. So that's why it wouldn't be like knocking my socks off. That's my head. That's not my socks. My socks are down here. If they don't do that, however, they could remaster Donkey Kong Country Returns. This seems not that unlikely. Last week I made a video talking about the fact that I think a bunch of Wii and 3DS games will start getting ported now that the Wii U ones have concluded, and that's one that if it's made in the same engine as Tropical Freeze is, which I believe it is, it would need some new textures and need to be ported, but theoretically, based on my limited understanding of how making games works, they could bring it over without too much trouble. And last from this category is the original Donkey Kong Country trilogy from the SNES. The question is, how much are they willing to upgrade these remasters and still keep them at $60? My guess would be a decent amount because you're already getting them for free with Nintendo Switch Online anyway, so they would have to try to make it a little bit more worth your while. And frankly, unless they make some substantial changes, that might be even less exciting than a port of Donkey Kong Country Returns, but hey, it's still something. Anniversaries, baby! And now, to the fun ones, the more unrealistic, but they'd be awesome if they happened kind of ones. Number one, we've made several videos about this and talked about it off and on. A 3D Donkey Kong, just a straight port of Donkey Kong 64. No, a brand new 3D Donkey Kong. And here's the twist, here's the idea. AJ made a video a couple of weeks ago saying that he didn't think that Bowser's Fury was a test for the next steps for Mario. And I agree. But what if it was for Donkey Kong? I don't think an open world Donkey Kong would work, like, Breath of the Wild kind of open world and stuff. However, a Bowser's Fury open world where really it's levels within an open area, I think that could. Even in Bowser's Fury, there's power-ups that allow you to get items and collectibles in different ways. Similarly, in Donkey Kong, you've got various characters that you can switch between to get the same collectibles, but in a different way. I don't want to beat a dead donkey, but Donkey Kong 64 is not the best way for how to do 3D Donkey Kong. So, just pull from Bowser's Fury, do that whole thing. Probably don't have the giant King K. Rool thing, but in any case, an open area, an open world with different platforming sections that are kind of levels of their own. I think it could work great. If you want a video on just that, I don't know, let me know in the comments and maybe we'll do it. We'll see. Next idea, a Punch-Out featuring Donkey Kong. So DK was in Punch-Out for the Wii, but he was just an enemy at some point that you had to fight. And that's great, especially as a segue to this idea where maybe even there's two paths or a New Game Plus where you get to play as Donkey Kong. I mean, within the 40th anniversary, it wouldn't be the big thing, but it could be just one of the smaller things to fit into it. But maybe this is like a Pokemon Red and Blue situation where you could play the Little Mac Punch-Out game or the Donkey Kong Punch-Out game, and either one of them is the final boss at the end of the other ones. Maybe you run into each other a couple times and it's a rival fight, and then is where the New Game Plus comes in and you play the other one. I guess kind of like a Resident Evil 2 situation. I mean, it's not like the best idea ever, but it would be neat. And last one I've got written down is Diddy Kong Racing Returns. Here's the thing, let's talk about Mario Kart for a minute, because Mario Kart 8 is selling so many games that It's possible they go ahead and move on to Mario Kart 9, but it's also very possible that they just don't. They can ride this wave for a really long time. But you know what's less likely to compete with the sales for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe than Mario Kart 9 would be? A whole different karting game. So specifically, Diddy Kong Racing returns. And also what's got me thinking about this is new Pokemon Snap, because that also was a niche game on the N64 that was a complete one-off that we kind of thought was never going to come back. So maybe, hey, they throw caution to the wind and they bring back Diddy Kong Racing, but this time they get to use it as some testing grounds for some things they might want to do in Mario Kart 9, or ideas that they had but didn't really work out, or even ideas from Mario Kart Tour that are good ideas but just wouldn't quite fit in Mario Kart 9. They can have two competing karting games that don't really compete with each other. The real question would be the roster, because I don't think there's as iconic of a Donkey Kong roster by a long shot as there is Mario, and Mario is even pulling from outside of Mario right now. So that might be a bit tough, and maybe it has to be subsequent to some other Donkey Kong property that can really bring up the IP temporarily to kind of kick things off. But I think that could be a great next step for the franchise. All in all, I don't know if Nintendo's going to do anything for Donkey Kong's anniversary. It's possible that they just forget about it, or do a quick mention, or, you know, put out one game maybe like Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon and the Blade of Light. It's fun to say that whole name. Do it. It's fun. Or maybe they do a whole bunch of stuff. It's really hard to say these days, if I'm being fully honest. And maybe they don't want to go overboard with the anniversary stuff. But Donkey Kong is a franchise of theirs that they really need to leverage more if they want it to stay relevant, because right now it really feels more like a Mario spin-off than it does its own strong franchise. And maybe Nintendo's fine with that. But here's the last thing I'm going to leave you with. You ready for this? I had a whole nother idea that I remember thinking was really good. I stood upstairs and I thought, that's a good idea for what they could do for the Donkey Kong anniversary celebration. I should write it down. And I forgot to write it down. And I've forgotten it all the way. So this is where I need your help. Let me know in the comments, what do you think is a good idea for the Donkey Kong anniversary celebration for the 40th? The big old 4-0, he's over the hill, that whole thing. I said that earlier, I'm pretty sure. What do you think they should do for that? Let me know in the comments down below, and while you're down there, be sure to like the video and subscribe to Fanatixfour for more content like this every Tuesday and Thursday from me and from AJ, and then we've got a podcast every Saturday. Last week's was weird because we did a live stream of the Pokemon thingy. But this week's will be normal. Actually, this week is our 150th podcast episode ever. So we're going to do some kind of something for it, I think. So do all that stuff. Check out the videos. We'll pull some of those comments, talk about them on our podcast this weekend if we have time. And that's about it for me. So till next week, peace and blessings. Fingers crossed this transfers over well.